I pity the fool.
Hey, sucker, you better not be talking to no invisible animals.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
We set up a nation of people and a band of warriors, and we set it up in a very extreme way.
They faced tens of thousands of opponents there for their land, for Sparta.
It's a battle where the imbalance between the sides is so enormous that it defies description.
That's the best you can do.
The king, he wants to take a larger army there, but he has to deal with kind of outdated traditions and corruption within the council and the ephors.
But there's no question we face the most massive army ever assembled.
Before your plan is heard, what do you offer?
Kind of cons them in a way. He realizes this is a decision he has to make on his own, and he has to take his best men and go and make a stand.
I suppose I'll head north.
The Hot Gates.
He exists and lives and breathes and fights with his men. It's the opposite of Xerxes, who sits up in his high tower, who has slaves, who bribes, who seduces, who kills his men to achieve victory.
Imagine what horrible fate awaits my enemies when I would gladly kill any of my own men for victory.
And I would die for any one of mine.
He puts himself like in a pedestal, like, you know, above the sky. So he doesn't even look at Leonidas as an equal. He's arrogant, he's very unstable, just wants to conquer the world. His ambition is unlimited. He wants glory, he wants victory, he wants eternal fame.
Consider the fate of your women.
Clearly, you don't know our women.
Gorgo is the wife of Leonidas, Queen of Sparta. She adores Leonidas and she knows the Spartan code, you know, and it's freedom and you fight and you hold on to that belief, you know, so she lets him go with open arms. She's going to do whatever it takes.
I need your help in winning votes to send the army north to our king.
He needs a second opinion. He needs assurance. He looks to his wife, and she explains so eloquently why he has to go to war.
It's not a question of what a Spartan citizen should do, nor a husband, nor a king. Instead, ask yourself, my dearest love, what should a free man do?
To die a great death is the biggest honor, you know, so the women kind of understand that you might not have him forever.
She played as dramatic and important a role to the Spartans' fight as did Leonidas.
Women had a remarkably powerful position in society. Queen Gorgo was a formidable politician.
I come to you as a mother. I come to you as a wife. I come to you as a Spartan woman.
There was a time when sacrifice was a thing that people did for reasons bigger than themselves. Inside of them, they were like, okay, we found a thing worth dying for. And to a Spartan, that's the best thing there is, you know, getting the chance to die for what you believe.
Yet I've never met an adversary who could offer me what we Spartans call a beautiful death. I can only hope, with all the world's warriors gathered against us, there might be one down there who's up to the task.
These men at the Hot Gates were ready to die. In fact, Leonidas intended to die. He knew there was no chance of survival. And he clearly didn't care because he knew something would be achieved. And that the cause was, I think, in his mind, in an ancient sense, religious.
If it is blood you seek, you're welcome to join us.
Would you bring only this handful of soldiers against Xerxes?
You, there. What is your profession?
I'm a potter.
And you, Arcadian, what is your profession?
Sculptor, sir.
Spartans! What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.
Just picture a train wreck. because that's what the battle was like. It was hideous. It must have been horribly intimidating for the Persians, with their overwhelming numbers, 300,000 to 300, to have all of a sudden seen all those Corinthian helmets and those dreadlocks and those red capes locked in perfect order, with the spears pointing down at exactly the same time. They must have felt like they'd just seen a giant machine.
They look thirsty! Well, let's give them something to drink! To the cliffs!
Zach was so confident in his ability to see what Frank's book was and how to put that on film.
A combination of artistry, technology, and storytelling is kind of evolutionary.
I accepted Frank's version from the beginning because it was, in a way, my version.
Everybody's killing themselves in this thing to make it as accurate as possible, but accurate not in the sense of historical accuracy. They picked up on the stylization I brought to the drawing of it. So these Spartans are much more physical in their appearance than the real Spartans were.
The graphic novel is a piece of beautiful art. You look at it, every frame is a beautiful painting. For me, it was like, you wrote a graphic novel, how can I make that into a movie? Not make it into a Hollywood version of a movie, but into like, how can I make that live?
We are with you, sire! For Sparta! For freedom! To the death!
But just because it was a visual effects movie, we still had to design every single background and set. So if it wasn't being built practically, it was going to be built in the computer. So then when it does get to the visual effects companies, they have a roadmap.
Look! Persians!
Really, there's nothing in that comic book which you could actually photograph. Everything is completely over the top. It's done in a very distinctive comic book style. We apply what we call the crush, which is essentially our treatment to the footage, which makes what we shoot look like the comic book.
When we first started casting this film, Zach said that he wanted to hire a cast of fit men, and he wanted to convert them into just animals. Zach trained along with them largely, and he just got out there and said, if I can do it, you can do it.
I feel like when I see the guys in there and they see me training, that there is a camaraderie thing that happens that I think only people that have suffered and shared can kind of relate to.
These guys, 480 BC, you're living a different life, you're doing everything, there's no modern conveniences, and these guys specifically had to be stronger, had to be more fit, and, you know, that's really where Mark came in.
You know, really what we wanted to do with the actors was make them a gang. And we train people in groups, forge these guys into a really solid team. This is something that Zach had seen, and that was what he wanted. About 8 weeks total of purely training guys to look the way they look for the big battle scene.
Everybody learned together, improved, and got the style, and we became one, as we say, single, impenetrable unit.
Finally, I think they've come out the other side as a fighting force that will be believable on the screen.
It is the battle that inspires, because it's the battle that everybody fought for freedom.
The story of 300 is just about bravery in the face of impossible odds, in the face of not having a chance to win.
So there's a time to stand back and resist, and then there's a time to take action. They wanted to die in this battle. They wanted to die in the perfect battle.
Spartans! Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. But tonight, we dine in hell!
The world will know that free men stood against a tyrant, that few stood against many, and before this battle was over, that even a god king can bleed.